what's going on, good people, what is going on. It is your boy, SportsRap CEO, back at you one more again. I'm here, and we gonna rock out. So I'm gonna first start by saying apologies for my tardiness. I knew I said 5 o'clock. I'm a little bit behind, but nonetheless, like I said, I'm here. And I'm with my peoples. I'm with y'all, right? So, got some things to talk about. A couple things I want to talk to y'all about. We, I'm going to talk Eagles. We know we got the Eagles. We hired an OC and a passing game coordinator. I'm talk a little bit about those guys and a little bit talk about the Eagles opponents for next year, and a couple other things going on with the Eagles. Also, I, I'm just going to go into it. I'm going to start with some Sixer stuff. And I know you all know, just give me 1 second, I'm going through my notes here. All right. You know, you all know what I am referring to when I say this, right? So let's just get to it, all right? Paul George was announced over the weekend. Paul George has been suspended for 25 games. Okay, 25 games, people, for apparently violating the league's anti-drug policy. Whatever that is, right? We will probably never know what it truly is, but whatever that is, he was in violation and he's been suspended for 25 games, all right? In that, all right, including that, losing out on $11 million in pay. He isn't suspended without pay. So he's losing like about $11 million, they say, of his salary. One way that it actually kind of helps the Sixers is it's going to give them approximately $7 million, somewhere between $5 and $7 million. So with that, now that puts them to maybe I think somewhere like $1 million into the luxury tax instead of where they were. So they wanted to get that out. They were also talking about doing some things possibly to get below that luxury tax. There were some trades talked about. I'm gonna talk about some rumors in a minute too. But this suspension of Paul George kind of helps out in the mix. So with that being said, I don't think that the Sixers are going to make any trades. I think the trade deadline is either tomorrow or Thursday. I'll post it later and let you guys know when it is. But anyway, just backtracking just a little bit and back to the Paul George thing. He has since made a statement. He apologized to his teammates. He apologized to the organization and the fans. He mentioned that he took some type of medication that was supposed to aid him in dealing with his mental health issues. We have been seeing that and hearing that a lot from players in the NBA and a lot more other professional sports players. And they all have now apparently been able to come out or feel a lot more comfortable coming out and saying that they have these mental health issues and how they have been dealing with them. So I'm not upset with it. One of the things that I do feel like though is that all of these professional athletes have people around them. They have publicists and doctors and trainers and all that kind of stuff. You would kind of sort of think that they would have someone around them in their circle that can actually be aware of these types of things and kind of make sure that or make sure to the best of their ability that nothing that these athletes are taking will violate any policies from their employer. Because most of these things they have an anti-drug policy, then that they have to be listed. Whatever is, banned will be somewhere listed. You can find it. You can get it from the NBA. You can get the list. You can Google it, look it up, whatever. But you can find what is banned, right? And we've also seen other players who have tested positive for banned substances, but then they say they took a supplement. So again, this is what I say. These guys invest this money in their bodies and these physical trainers and other things, and some of them and doctors and all that kind of stuff. You kind of would think that they would have some people around them, or some doctors that prescribe certain medications would be a little bit more privy to some of the things that are banned, and like I said, from these professional athletes, employers, in whatever realm it is. But again, he has apologized to, again, teammates, organization, and fans. He mentioned, like I said, that he had taken something to deal with his mental health issues. And then, of course, all this other stuff come up. This is why I tell y'all to be careful what y'all see and what y'all hear in the media, unless you're getting it from someone who you feel is genuine, right? So right after that, I noticed that on social media, then it came out something, and it was like kind of a blowing out of proportion thing for me, if you will. There was a clip or something allegedly where Paul George and Joel Embiid were talking at one point, and talking about the stresses of the nature of the business and things of that nature. And allegedly, the way they put it out is that Paul George said drugs help. Now, here's the thing, and this is why I tell you all, I'm a little different in what I do, but this is why I tell you all, be careful when stories like these come out and then you have to deal and hear stuff from the mainstream media. Now, I'm not saying that maybe was not said in their conversation, but apparently it was somebody around, either in the media or somebody that leaked it. And again, like I said, they gave you what they wanted to give you due to the story that was out prior to them creating that post. And it focused on that part, drugs help. We don't know the full context if that was said in the conversation between Paul George and Joel Embiid. So again, the media, like I've been telling y'all for several weeks now, will take things and turn it and run it and make it seem very different than what it is. And like I say, once you get it from the media, if you've never been in one of those rooms, interview rooms, press conferences, whatever, you're going to get whatever they chop up and put out that they want to put out. That's just how they operate. That's just how they work. Again, I think I have a lot of trust and a lot of people that look to see and hear what I have to say sometimes, because I'm really genuine. Again, like I said, with what I said, I do my homework, right? Y'all see when I'm doing this and y'all see me recording, I tell y'all all the time, so y'all see me flipping through papers, going through notes. I got stuff highlighted, underlined. I got notes all over the place. I am genuine with the information that I give you. But of course, I give you the story. I give you the main story in a nutshell. But then I go in and I give you my interpretation. Like I said, for the past several weeks, I've been telling you, just be careful what you see and read in the media. Right? Again, I tell you, try if you can to dig and find the full interview. Like I said, everyone that's in the media in one of those rooms either has a camera, an audio recorder, or a cell phone. And it's running the whole time. So basically, if I'm sitting in there, even if I don't ask any questions, I'm getting the entire, let's say, press conference. I'm getting the entire press conference. So then it's on me, and like the mainstream media, it's on them to create a story. Right? That's their business, to sell jobs, sell stories, sell newspapers, sell magazines, to get ratings on radio stations, for TV stations, right? So again, like I told you before, they'll give you what they want to give you, and then they'll do like the TV series do. They'll give you cliffhangers, so you have to come back or you have to start digging deeper. And then they'll just string you along and keep bits and pieces coming out, right? But they'll stay with the angle that they grasp the most attention from. It's not always good, right? It's not always good. So he's going to miss, like I said, we said 25 games, which is going to, when he comes back, there will be about 10 games left in the regular season. Thank God for the sudden reemergence of Joel Embiid. The Sixers also brought back Charles Bassey. And there has been some trade rumors, some trade talk. You heard Kelly Oubre's name come up a few times. You heard Andre Drummond's name come out. And most recently with the Giannis talk. And I don't believe everything that I've seen, everything that I've read. I don't believe there's any traction from the Sixers side of it. But it's been put out with the Giannis, I'm not going to say that last name, with the Giannis situation, that now the Sixers are on his radar. He would like to play with Maxey, I think, and Embiid. So in that, just mock trades and what people were talking, they was asking for VJ, I don't know who else, but the Sixers have also put out that VJ is not on the trading block. VJ is pretty much untouchable. I don't think now with the situation with Paul George, they're going to make any moves in haste. I think right now, and like I said, because of the suspension and because how it helps them with the luxury tax right now, I think they may stay pat. Because without Paul George, you bring somebody back, bring somebody else in now that has to learn his new teammates, and the new teammates have to learn him. You were just getting good with Paul George. The other thing I want to mention about this Paul George suspension, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, if you will, at this point. Remember the game prior to the suspension, or it might have been 2 games prior to the suspension. And leading up to that, we had a couple of games where we saw some flashes from Paul George, looking like he was starting to get his footing, right? Then he has this breakout game where he has 32 points, hits 9 threes. Then all of a sudden, he comes out that he's suspended. And it was like kind of a shocker when it happened. So there have been posts and there have been people, and I thought about it too, and I said I would bring it to the table just to see how some people will react if anybody responds. You know, I'm at TikTok and Instagram at SportsRap CEO. I'm live right now. Could it be that due to that breakout game, after what we had seen last year from Paul George and this the start of this year from Paul George, where it kind of looked like we were getting into the same thing. And then I'm thinking like the 15, 17, 20-point games here are just like, we're just like, okay, maybe everything's still all right. Maybe things okay. He's getting his foot and he's starting to fill it up, whatever. Then he has that breakout game, right? And then all of a sudden he gets suspended. So I'm not saying that's definitely the case. I'm a Sixers fan, and y'all know what I say about Philly teams and media and the organization. I mean, and the leagues that they represent. Eagles always talk. Sixers always talk. Phillies always talk. Flyers always talk. Why we had that song, no one likes us, no one likes us, we don't care, right? Anyway, just a thought that I had run through my head about that. And he does have support from his teammates. I'm right. It's going to be they're going to put them 1 million over, all right, because it's going to save them 5.8 million on the luxury tax thing. So he does have his support. Does have support from his teammates. Andre Drummond has spoken up. Kelly Oubre says, and I quote, "I stand with my brother. Whatever he needs, he knows he can reach out to me. We love him and we'll be with him throughout this whole process," end quote. Right? Tyrese Maxey, quote, "We stand with Paul. We appreciate him as a team. We're going to rally behind him and make sure that he's good and gets whatever he needs," end quote. Again, right? So he has some people behind him. He even has his coaches behind him, right? VJ Edgecombe says he's irreplaceable, right? Joel Embiid has now bodied that the team must embrace the next man up mentality, which I think is correct. And I understand what's going on with your brother, your teammate. Yes, you're going to support him. You're going to have his back, but you still in turn have a job to do. And it's probably going to be tough. It can be tough. But again, you've got to stay focused. And I think if they stay focused and they continue doing what they're doing, when he comes back, it will make his return that much more comfortable because of the support and because he was already in the mix and doing what everything was going on, helping him improve. Right? So I look forward to him coming back. Also look forward to the team doing what they're doing. All-Star break is coming up. And again, like we are already into February. It's February 2nd. Is it February 2nd? Yeah, February 2nd already. Right? We're already into February. All-Star game coming up February weekend. All-Star weekend, I'm sorry, February 13th through 15th. 2 representatives right now that we know of, from the Sixers, definitely Tyrese Maxey, All-Star starter for the East, and VJ Edgecombe, selected for the Castro Rising Stars game. I got quiet for a minute, right? Because I said VJ Edgecombe, who has now made Philadelphia and Philadelphia fans fall in love. But I remember way back when Philly fans were skeptical slightly about selecting VJ. Everyone wanted one of the 2 guys from Rutgers, namely one, and his name is Ace Bailey. Then we had that whole Ace Bailey fiasco with the people behind him, right? He since got rid of them, but we had that whole fiasco. Once it got to that point and we started heading up to the draft and I heard the name VJ Edgecombe, I immediately do what I do. I did my homework. I was telling people when it came to that, when we got the number 3 pick, I said the Sixers are probably going to take VJ Edgecombe. And everybody's like, no, we should take Ace Bailey. We need to take Ace Bailey. And then both started out good. VJ a little higher. VJ continued to soar. He still ascend. Haven't heard much about Ace Bailey in a little while. He had a couple games that were pretty good, 20 points here and there. But he's since basically fizzled out. Dylan Harper playing pretty good. He's in the Rising Star Challenge, right? But again, that Ace Bailey comparison, like I was telling people, sometimes just because an athlete checks your box doesn't always mean that you have to take that particular athlete. A lot of the things that people were skeptical about when they heard scouting reports on VJ have since been diminished. Like I said, they have now fallen in love with this kid. He is arguably in the running for the Rookie of the Year. I mean, I feel like, in my opinion, he should be the Rookie of the Year. And the best thing about it is the kid is hungry and humble at the same time. What up, Scotty? Yeah, he's humble and hungry at the same time. Most recently, he has become a household name, but most recently, him and his running mate Tyrese Maxey are on the new cover of the newest Slam magazine. So make sure you go out and get that. Read that article. I'm sure it's a great article. I'll get to it whenever I get to it, and then I'll bring some stuff back to you from the article. Other notes on the Sixers, like I said, we talked about that, the All-Star game. So before we get into that, again, before I finish, there's a new format in the All-Star game, right, this year. So the way they're going to do it, and I've told you this when it first came out, we're going to run through it again since it's getting closer. So there's 3 teams, right? 2 U.S. teams and 1 world team, all right? And 3 games in a round robin tournament, followed by a championship. All right. Each game is going to be 12 minutes, so each game is going to be the equivalent of one NBA quarter. And the top two teams will, by record, after the round robin tournament, will move to the final. If there is a tiebreaker, they will go by point differential. All right. That would be on the 15th, on the Sunday, which is always the day for the All-Star game. The Rising Stars Challenge will be 13th, which is that Friday. The Celebrity Game also that Friday. And the HBCU Classic, a new piece that they've added in. This year's participants, Hampton versus North Carolina A&T. Shout outs to North Carolina A&T. Shout outs to head coach Monte Ross. Good friend of mine, running mate from high school, great coach. So you get the opportunity. Make sure, 6 p.m. Eastern time on Friday the 13th. Hampton versus North Carolina A&T. All right, make sure you check that game out. Support my guy. Make sure you do that. All right, and support the HBCUs in general, right? But yeah, you know what I mean. Getting back to a little bit more Sixers, and we can talk Joel Embiid, right? We have seen another ascend in Joel Embiid. He's beginning to play better. He's beginning to look like the Joel Embiid that we all know and love. Just for sakes of you-know-whats and you-know-whats, stats over the last 7 games for one Joel Hans Embiid. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. I'm going to get to that, Scotty, but I got you. We need O-line and wide receivers. Maxey's in a slump. I don't know if I would actually call it a slump. I think he is, or he does at times, more times than I like, rely on the jump shot. But I think he'll come out of it. I think that was like the game the other night, the first play of the game, they ran that Iverson cut. I felt like there was 2 things there. The tribute to AI, because they did the tribute to the team and he was in the building. And that was a great way to get Maxey started right from the gate. All right, but getting back to, again, one Joel Hans Embiid, right? Over the past 7 games, he's averaging, and I put from what the lowest to the high, but I'm just going to give you the highest, right? Averages, all right? In points, 31.3. Rebounds, 8.3. Almost 5.5 assists. Field goal percentage, surprising or amazing, whichever word you want to choose, 52.5%, playing in 33 minutes per game. Can we say efficiency? Remember, I said 31 points, my 31 point whatever, so let's say 32 in 30 minutes of play. That's just almost a point a minute. And again, he's being dominant when he needs to be dominant. He's shooting the 3 when he's left open. He's stepping in and taking that mid-range. And he's doing Joel Embiid things once again. It's good to see. I hope that it can continue. I think the Sixers are in action tonight. Let me check my notes again. I always got to check my notes. I know that. Well, whatever. I got it somewhere. Tonight's schedule, and I'll give y'all the schedules for the games tonight later on. Let's see. NBA. No, the Sixers are not in action tonight, so don't have to worry about that. Since we're here, Sixers, you know there's a back and forth thing. It was initially brought out about Allen Iverson allegedly being a bad host celebrity over in Australia. But a lot of things were said about Iverson. Then later on, most recently, I think as early as like the weekend, there was another report out and this was saying that those things were not true. I've got to do more research on it, before I give you a full story. I'm just giving you the basis. Like I said, I'll give you the basis of the story, and I'll do some more research. And when I get some more research, I'll revisit it and bring it back, and we can talk about it some more at another date. So moving right along, we know about the Eagles, right? We know how the season ended. We know all the rumors and all the talk and all the chatter. I don't understand why, and this is part of the reason why I always tell you people, sometimes you gotta take your fan hat off and think about some other things. This is why I always try to give you, as much as I can, give you the business side of professional sports. I try to do that for you all the time. First, with everything going on with AJ, right? And I said this to people, I said it to some of my coworkers at work, I said it to some other people. I said it to some people that have actually played sports, been in locker rooms and things of that nature. So again, like I said, I'll digress for a second. I'll go back. The AJ Brown blow up on the sideline with Nick Sirianni, and then they also caught him in the tunnel, and this is that, right? So again, we heard what Nick Sirianni said. He said he was just trying to get him off the field, and he was like taking his time getting off the field. Okay, I have no issue with the coach doing that. That is what your coach should do. If you are dogging it, lollygagging, getting off the field, you trying to change team, whatever, we can get a penalty, get off the field. I don't have a problem with him yelling at him if that was the case. We all know what I'm getting ready to say, right? Me, I wasn't at that game. I wasn't on the sideline. I wasn't there. So I will only know what I will be told that dialogue was. Second part, I saw them in the tunnel walking away after the game, after the loss. It looked like Nick Sirianni wanted to say something to AJ, and AJ kind of gave him that look like, dude, I don't really feel like talking to you right now, and walked away. And then he goes in the locker room. They say he daps up his teammates. He doesn't talk to the media, doesn't want to talk to the coach. Okay. Take a breath, people. Calm down. If you have never played a sport, been on a team, and not even going to say just at that level, but to that stature where you're won a championship and then you're coming back trying to repeat, or you've been an elite player at whatever level you were, there comes times when players get frustrated, right? And again, I'm not excusing anybody for any of their actions. I'm just trying to give you another outlook on something that could possibly have happened, because some of the stuff that they said about what AJ did, leaving the locker room in that game and trying to turn it around, kind of gets to me because I've been in locker rooms. So I know, I said to people, I said, there have been times, and I'm sure some of you that have played can tell me this the same thing. Things didn't go your way this particular day. We in that locker room. You might have had a teammate that might be mad, frustrated because he felt like he was playing his all, or the season wasn't going as good as people thought it was. There was a lot of frustration built up from the beginning for a long time. And at this point, when it counted the most, when we needed a win, we went through the same thing. And now that frustration has come to a head. So they said he went in the locker room, he dapped up his teammates, and he left. Seen that happen. I presented it to people as just, and I'm not saying this was the exact case. I'm saying I wish so many people would stop immediately going to the negative and blowing the negative up like there is no other way that there could possibly be something else. Especially if you are a fan, you're seeing it in the media, and you were never in that locker room, on that sideline, or in that tunnel. So again, I've seen it happen. Players get frustrated, things come to a head. Listen, bros, I love y'all to death. I can't deal with coach right now, and I'm not dealing with the media right now. I just got to get out. But I love y'all. dap everybody up, and going about their way. Thing in the tunnel. Again, it could have been to the point where the frustration came to a head, and it's just, dude, not now. We not in the right place. No, I don't even want to talk to you. I'm going this way. Shortly after that, they get the media in the locker room with clean. We know when teams come make postseason interviews, right? End of season interviews. Catch Jalen Hurts in the locker room, and they ask him some question about AJ. And he says him and AJ are fine. They ask him something else. He said, "Oh, well, I guess you should go ask him." Here's what I'm saying to you, right? I just saw a clip yesterday on social media. And it was a clip of social media from the fight Saturday night, Shakur Stevenson fight. I'm not Shakur, so I'm clipped it. Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown. See each other, played around a little bit, joked with each other, dapped each other up, smiles. All love. Or what it looked like, all love. Now, I'm almost certain when I saw that scene that they probably have no idea who actually took that, because you know how people are with their phones. Wherever it's a moment, where it's a moment where they think it's a moment, they all on top of it, right? I felt like it was genuine from what I saw, right? And again, like I said, I'll never know the true essence, but like I said, think about that. I've been in situations, and it could have been frustration. Hell, they even showed some clips back and forth here where Jalen Hurts was actually frustrated with quarterbacks, coaches, and offensive coordinators in some of those meetings. You could see the frustration in his face. So, the Eagles, and all of that, hire Sean Mannion as the new offensive coordinator, and they also bring in Josh Grizzard to be the passing game coordinator. Sean Mannion has not actually, or doesn't have a lot of experience calling plays. Josh Grizzard was also a candidate for the OC job. He was most recently the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Eagles hired what a lot of people wanted, maybe not the exact persons that the people wanted, but some young, up and coming, creative coaches who are in tune with today's NFL. And coaches on the rise also, if you will. And I think that the decisions that they made will help. I think the way they structured it, I think it will keep Sirianni not so much on the outside looking in, but it will keep him at bay, if you will. When Kellen Moore was here, Kellen Moore called the plays, Kellen Moore ran the offense, and we saw what happened. Another guy who was a young, intuitive, uprising coach who ultimately became a head coach. All right. These two names were in the final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the final 6 candidates for the Eagles, right? So they hired 2 of their final 6 candidates, which I think is a good thing. And again, I feel like they hired some coaches that can do some things with this offense. A lot of people were starting to speculate when the people were pulling away and not, or the search seemed like it was getting to be far-fetched. People started speculating that no one wanted the job. And then it started with Greg Olson, and then a couple other people came along and they said, if you're an OC looking for a job, this is arguably the job that you want. Again, remember, people, the Eagles allegedly had the highest paid offense. They didn't look like it last year, but I think it can get back to the Super Bowl year, maybe even a little bit better, right? They do have some free agency issues. I'm sorry. Like I said, Scotty chimed in on Instagram and he said they need corners, O-line, and wide receivers. I can agree with that. I don't think the O-line was completely healthy the entire season because we know what that our offensive line can be. So they were up and down all season. The wide receivers, again, I see where Scotty's going, and you could get another wide receiver to come in. But I also feel like for a good portion of the season, teams had picked up on what the Eagles were doing and what their lack of doing was. And I looked at some games and I was telling people, yeah, I said, I know AJ's frustrated. They're trying to force him the ball, yada, yada, yada. But now you've got teams that are just sitting back, throwing a safety over the top, knowing that it's going to be trying to be forced to him to keep him happy. Wasn't a good look. The corners, yes, we definitely need somebody outside of Quinyon Mitchell. We're on the other side of Quinyon Mitchell. Some people have suggested Cooper. I don't like that. I think Cooper is fine where he is. I think he is better suited for that slot corner role. Because in that slot corner, you've got to cover, you got to tackle. Things that Cooper DeJean does very well. I just don't think him covering outside wide receivers is a good thing. But I think he's great where he is at the slot. And I think they should keep him there. And like Scotty said, we should look for another corner. Somebody that can play outside on the opposite side of Quinyon Mitchell, because Quinyon Mitchell is a stud and we know Cooper's a stud. We're also going to need a safety with the uncertainty of Reed Blankenship and the other side, not Mike Epps. Epps came back. I forget his first name, but Epps came back. And then you got Blankenship, but Blankenship's a free agent. So I'm thinking that they could possibly try and do something and bring, and bring Reed Blankenship back. But I'm not 100% sure. I think with that situation, I think that goes with what happens in the draft and how healthy can Akuba be when he comes back. Because remember, they drafted a safety that had showed some promise last year, but he got injured. So we'll see how healthy he is when he can come back and what he can do when he comes back. So some early projections for the Eagles, right? As far as free agency. Dallas Goedert is one free agent. These are just projections where people are possibly speculating and saying maybe this could happen. 2 years at $24 million to bring Dallas Goedert back. All right. They made the trade for Jalen Phillips from Miami, familiar with Fangio, who made an impact on the defense as well. Vic Fangio is not retiring. He is coming back. At least we know for this upcoming season. They have him at 1 year for $15 million coming back, Jalen Phillips. And then this is the one that surprised me, and I don't think this is going to happen as far as the amount of money. But they have Nakobe Dean on a 3-year, $41 million deal. I don't know if that's going to happen, like I said, as far as the money. But it depends on how that contract gets structured. It could happen. The 30 for 30 is set to, ESPN's 30 for 30 is set to do a documentary on the Philly special. Another famed play from Philadelphia, aside from the tush tush. So, getting back to the Eagles, and 5 things that we should know about our new offensive coordinator, Sean Mannion. Number 1, he spent the last 2 seasons with the Green Bay Packers. Right? He was the offensive assistant. He was the quarterback's coach last year, and he was the offensive assistant in the year before that. But under Mannion, right, Jordan Love, he threw for 3,381 yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions in 15 games that he played. All right. Ultimately, his backup, Malik Willis, completed over 85% of his passes for 422 yards and 3 interceptions in limited action. All right. So that's good. That's promising there. That gives you some signs that he can do some things with some quarterbacks, and how people have talked about Jalen Hurts and whatever. Number 2, he has had a quick rise, and he was a former quarterback in the NFL. During the 23 season, he was on 2 practice squads, the Vikings and the Seahawks. Mike LaFleur, Packers head coach, that says he has a bright future in his profession. And again, like I said, he's an uprising coach. All right. He has played for and coached with some of the brightest minds in football. All right. This list includes Sean McVay, Liam Cohen, Kevin O'Connell, Kevin Stefanski, Zach Taylor, and others. Right. He also has heavy influence from the Mike and Kyle Shanahan tree of coaching. Number 3, he was an offensive coordinator at the East-West Shrine Bowl, all right, for the West team, who won that game 21-17. In that game, his quarterbacks completed 22 of 28 passes, and they just rushed for 142 yards. So we wasn't really worried about that. But yeah, they passed 22 of 28 passes completed. I don't see. Let me see. Where is number 5? Number 4. All right, number 4 got cut off. But he was drafted. He was a quarterback in the league. He had a really great, or they say prolific, college career. All right, he played 47 games at Oregon State. He is actually 19th in FBS history with 13,600 passing yards total. His junior season, he led the Pac-12 in passing with 4,662 yards and 37 touchdowns. Beavers won a bowl game. He finished his career with a 64.6% passing rating, 83 touchdowns, 53 interceptions. All right. So again, coaches that have played the position where people are talking about needs help. Jalen Hurts, right? We that's another whole different animal that we can discuss at another time. But there are coaches now coming in that can generate some offense, can be creative in an offense with the talent that they have in front of them. All right. Josh Grizzard, the new passing game coordinator. Right? He was just the OC of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We played them. We saw how that offense was. We saw how they did things to come back in games for like 4 weeks in a row. Right? So his background is experience. He's had a rapid rise in Tampa. Okay, he was the last 2 years there. He was initially their passing game coordinator before being promoted to the offensive coordinator. He does have play calling experience. All right. He brings valuable experience in calling plays and designing pass concepts to Philadelphia, which fills a gap in experience for the new OC. So they can work kind of hand in hand. Right. Third down success in 2024, the Buccaneers offense under his guidance led the NFL 51.1% on third down conversions. Half of the third down conversions they converted. The Eagles struggled on third down. His Dolphins tenure. Before Tampa, he spent 7 seasons in Miami. He worked under Adam Gase, Brian Flores, and Mike McDaniel. And we know what those offenses did under all three of those coaches, especially and more prominently, most recent, Mike McDaniel. Has a Yale background. He played at Yale. All right, his role with the Eagles. So his complementary skill set. He's expected to work along Sean Mannion to install passing game concepts for Jalen Hurts. All right. Head coach Nick Sirianni, 2-for-1 strategy. Head coach Nick Sirianni, after a long search, effectively landed 2 of his top young offensive candidates by hiring And I don't think it was Nick. I think it was Howie and Mr. Lurie. All right, and modernizing the offense. This hiring is viewed as a move to bring in fresh outside voices to fix the offensive woes, specifically by using multiple looks, which they did not do, to disrupt defenses and improve passing efficiency. All right. So again, like I said, I think the Eagles brought in two solid coaches that will revamp this offense. I think the offense will get rolling again, and fans will get back to or see more of what we had gotten accustomed to seeing in that season prior and then that Super Bowl run. Right? So, folks, I appreciate everyone that tuned in. Again, like I said, apologies for my tardiness initially. I said I would give you some schedules for today, right? So before I go, Monday games for the day in the NBA. Looks like 2 games, the Rockets and the Pacers and the Pelicans and the Hornets. You got some women's college basketball in the top 25. Auburn at number 17, Ole Miss, and number 3, South Carolina at Texas A&M. On the men's side, Syracuse at number 16, UNC, my guys, and number 14, Kansas at number 11, Texas Tech. In the NHL, a few games here. Sabres, Panthers, Senators, Penguins, Owls, Capitals, Canadian Wild, Blues, Predators, Maple Leafs, Flames, Jets, Stars, Sharks, Blackhawks, Red Wings, Avalanche, and Canucks and the Mammoth. Again, folks, like I said, thanks to everybody for tuning in. I hope you all made it to work wherever if you had to go out. I hope you all got home safe. It's a lot of ridiculousness going on out there in this snow. And it just bothers me sometimes about people here in the city and what they do and how they drive in the snow and how they run to the store and buy everything up when they hear snow is coming. People, you live in Philadelphia, a city on the East Coast. We get all 4 seasons. Winter, spring, summer, fall. If you grew up in this city, you have to know that at some point during the winter, a couple of things could happen. It could get brutally cold like it has been over the past couple of winters. And also, it could snow. Sometimes a lot, sometimes not. But at some point, it could snow. And then we got the parking. People, listen. Listen, people. I understand it. I get it. People shoveling and they throw their chairs and stuff out there. People, in reality, in the grand scheme of things, and it's not enforced or whatever, but that is illegal. Right? But that's besides the point. The other side of the point is people. And this is not just because it's the snow, but it gets worse in the snow. People are, in today's world, are so self-righteous, disrespectful, ignorant, and selfish. I know it snowed. Yeah. At some point, some people had to go back to work in the snow. A lot of people had to go back to work. I had to go back the day after it snowed. I had to go back to work on Monday. I'm essential personnel with the city. But what I'm getting at is when people begin to shovel themselves out, you know good and damn well you didn't shovel that spot out. Don't be disrespectful and take that spot. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be pissed if you shoveled out a spot and somebody parked in your spot. A lot of y'all would probably be ready to argue and fight. We've seen it. I've heard on the news a couple fights have happened because of parking spots. But I don't get it. And like I said, I'm just bringing it up now because it's snowing. But it goes on when it's not snowing. Just driving in general. People are so rude. I don't understand it. I don't know what it is. But anyway, again, thank you all for tuning in. Everybody on Instagram, everybody on TikTok, I definitely appreciate all the support. You all know where to find me at SportsRap CEO on Threads, TikTok, and Instagram. All right, make sure you get to the YouTube channel, SportsRap TV. You know what to do there. There's 3 things you got to do there, right? You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. That's one. Subscribe to the channel. Then check out the videos. There's a lot of content over there. Hit the thumbs up on the videos that you like. Even leave me some comments if you will. And then third, hit that bell so you'll be alerted when new content is up. All right. DJs, I've been saying for the past several weeks, DJs, artists, if you want your music heard on internet radio, worldwide, Heat 100 radio, shoot me your files, your music, Gmail, get in my DM at SportsRap CEO on Instagram, TikTok, and I will give you my email there. All right. MP3 format, clean versions only. You can get your music heard on Heat 100 radio. Like I said, internet radio, worldwide radio. If you want spin packages for more than just sending me stuff, you can get the information. Just hit my DM in your message. Just put spin package. All right. Also, if you have a business, black-owned business, athletic business, or any other kind of business, and you want to advertise and get some things out, you can do that too. Hit my DM. And in that message, tag business. So I don't know what I can reach out to you for if you DM me. All right. And also, getting back to me, Heat100radio.airtime.pro is where you can hear replays of the Sports Rap podcast, The Morning Rush with Simply Monica, and a lot of great music. All right. Like I said, if you give me the right music, the right way, you can hear your music on there as well. Do not forget my Patreon page, patreon.sportsrap.com. You can get exclusive content over there, and you can also catch up and see what I'm doing. All right, people, if you are on your way home or if you are already home, hope you got there. But anyway, like I always say, be safe on purpose. Enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. February 2nd already. Happy Black History Month. 2 days in, right? And again, be safe, man. And again, snow out there, man. If you didn't shovel the spot, don't park in that spot. You don't know the feeling of coming home after you know you dug out a spot, you went to work, now you figure, all right, I'm going to go home, get in my spot, get in the house and chill and relax. And then you come home and your spot is taken by somebody, and then in some cases, somebody that don't even live on your block. Be mindful, people. Talk to y'all next Monday, right back here, all week on social media. Peace.